And how's it going, everybody? And welcome to yet another flipping video. Today we're going to be talking about 10 items I refuse to flip. This could be due to a string of bad luck that I had, or personal vendettas, or it could be due to a consistent track record of volatility, also known as inconsistency. Now, before we get started in this video, just remember this is my own personal opinion. Therefore, you may have a different opinion than me, and you're entitled to that opinion. With this in mind, if you want to see future money-making content, consider subscribing. Link for the Flipping Family Discord is in the description, and also leave a like and comment down below. I always appreciate constructive criticism, and I read every single comment. So please do your boy a favor, leave a comment down below. Be greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, boys, let's get into this video. And coming into your number one spot is going to be Mithril Bars. The Mithril Bars are definitely an item that I used to flip whenever I had a cash stack under 10 mil. However, the past few times I've attempted to flip these, I've either ended up not being able to sell them for the purchase price, or even taking a fat slap in the face by actually losing money on them. Now, there can be two reasons for this. One, Mithril Bars usually don't have that large of a margin, and two, there's a lot of competition for this particular item. Now don't get me wrong, this item may work for you. You might find out that this item is your cash cow, making you an absolute fat stack, but that's unlikely. And for these reasons, I'm not touching Mithril Bars with a 10-foot pole ever again. I don't remember the last time I had luck with these guys. Like, they're liquid ass. They're terrible. Like I said, you may have a different opinion than I do, but just from my own personal experience, the past few times I've tried to flip them, they're just not what they used to be. And that's why they are our number one slot. Coming in at number two is the Berserker Necklace. Now before we get started, I want to say that Berserker Necklace has done well for me. In fact, I used to flip this quite regularly. However, it took me a while to understand the price fluctuations of them and what the best time, I guess, for them to flip would be. But overall, I've actually been avoiding Berserker Necklaces for these past few months. Berserker Necklaces are a little bit too risky in my opinion, and I've noticed that the regular margin changes on them quite frequently, more so than other items that I've flipped. Until the market stabilizes, Berserker Necklaces are out of my good graces and drop into that back pocket of retired flips to try if nothing else is working. But definitely not to attempt unless I'm down to my last viable option. Now once again, you may do well with Berserker Necklaces. I used to do well, but the past 3 or 4 months, they just have not been performing like the way they used to. That's why for now, they are a cursed item, in my opinion. And coming in number 3 are black chins. I hate black chins, man. I hate black chins more than Trump hates bad trade deals with China. I have a history with these mischievous little critters, whatever. A history that I wish to never repeat. Black chins are the epitome of a bad flip in my opinion. Every time, and I mean every time I try to flip these, I lose money or they don't end up buying. I don't know if this is because they are a popular flip or if I'm just having bad luck. Some of you may disagree with me on this one, but overall, I say avoid them from my own personal experiences. Stick to something more reliable and consistent before turning your nose on these beasts. Hopefully you guys have better luck than I do, but anybody who listens in on my streams or any of my other videos knows I despise black chins, and they 100% deserve a place on this list. Coming in at your number 4 slot are Dragon Pickaxes. Dragon Pickaxes are kind of like McDonald's. You skip over them if there are other options, or they are a last resort. You try it out and hope you don't pay the consequences of your terrible mistake. Overall, I don't like Dragon Pickaxes. They buy at a decent speed, however, I can never get them to sell off. And if I do end up getting them to sell off, then I usually have to drop my sell price to a level that makes me glad I was able to sell them off for what I bought them for. I've never had luck with Dragon Pickaxes, If you have, then that's great. You're doing better than me. For me, I'd rather stick to other items in that similar price range, like a Dragon Fire Shield or an Armadillo Helmet. So that's why Dragon Pickaxes, damn, I can't say that word, Pickaxes are on this list. And number 5 is going to be Wrath Runes. Now, I may get a lot of hate for this, but Wrath Runes are hit or miss. They are not the worst item on this list, but they definitely belong here. If I am feeling desperate, that's when I'll go to Law Runes. If I am looking for consistency, I usually end up going with its younger brother, Blood Runes. Wrath Runes are like that uncle who's cool, but you can't necessarily trust him, and your mom hates when he's around you because she knows that he's not the best influence for her sheltered, socially awkward child. Overall, I think Wrath Runes are inconsistent, and you have several other options out there that you could use in place of them. If you don't know what items exactly, take a look at any of my most recent videos on high volume items. They would be a great resource if you are new to flipping. And coming in your 6th slot are Uncharged, Toxic Tridents, Enchanted versions, the enchanted versions of them. Now, the Uncharged Toxic Trident Enchanted version is usually a bad decision. Now, don't get this confused with the Uncharged version, just the plain old Uncharged Toxic Trident. That one is fine. However, the Enchanted version's no bueno. I don't know if this is due to low demand or high competition. I've never had luck with the Enchanted version of that Trident. I've tried to flip it several times to no avail. This is one of those items that I've placed into my list of never ever try these items again. Not as bad as the Dirty Rodents, also known as Black Chins, but they're still up there on the stink list. Uncharged, Toxic Trident, Enchanted are definitely something you should stay away from, especially if you are new to the game of flipping and don't want to risk too much for little return. And coming in at the number 7 slot is going to be the Master Wand. The Master Wand is similar to the enchanted version of the Uncharged Toxic Trident. I've flipped it before and have never had any luck. You may have luck with it, and if you do, kudos to you. However, I've never found the Master Wand to be worth it. For me, it takes a while to buy, and I could be using that money elsewhere, while the Master Wands are just marinating in that buy offer slot. If I do get them to buy, then I always have problems getting them to sell off then. Overall, I would say stay away from the Master Wands. I know other YouTubers like to flip them, but for me, they're not on my high list of items to flip. They're not even on my low list. Just Master Wands, I don't touch them. I haven't touched them for a while. To me, they're just bad voodoo. They're bad luck. And your number 8 slot is going to be the Tome of Fire. I've had a love-hate relationship with the Tome of Fire. You know, back in March of 2020, when the world was on fire and the reincarnation of the Spanish flu had arrived in the United States, I flipped the Tomes of Fire with a lot of success. However, since March, they have been dropping in price along with their title of a successful flip. In my opinion, this is due to a drop in that price. The margins for the Tome of Fire are not there anymore, and I don't see them coming back anytime soon. Tomes of Fire were good enough to flip at one point, and they may yet be in my good graces. But for now, I've avoided them, and they are too volatile and inconsistent to consider adding them to my list of items to flip. Sure, they're not nearly as expensive as they used to be, but to me they're not worth even glancing at. And number 9 is going to be the Zamorak Godsword. I can't emphasize this enough. Don't flip the ZGS. I have not had one successful flip with this item. Now, I have not tried it out in a month or so because every time I revisit it, I get kicked in the nuts. But the ZGS is kind of like Fireball. You think it's a good idea until the next morning when you wake up feeling like you've been hit by a freight train. If you try it, you're gonna get burned. Now, this is probably due to the low demand of the item. Obviously, the BGS and AGS are in higher demand, and therefore you can find a better margin on them. Stay away from the Fireball. Stick with something you know and something that won't make you regret your decisions. ZGS, don't freaking touch it, man. And coming in at the number 10 slot, and I know I'm going to get some hate for this. Actually, probably a lot of hate for this, but whatever. It's my opinion. It's my own personal thoughts. The SGS, Saradomin Godsword. Now, I will probably never flip this item again. I've never had luck with this item. In fact, I've lost several million trying to flip this item. Maybe I'm just a terrible flipper and I don't know how to maneuver them. But for now, I'm staying away from the SGS like a bad cold. But don't take my word for it. You may have better luck than I have with them. From my own personal experience though, the reward is not worth the risk. Spend your fat stacks somewhere else. I just don't find that the SGS for anybody with under a 200 mil cash stack is a viable option for you to flip. There's so many other good items out there that you could flip in its place. I wouldn't even mark it on your long list of items to flip. Just leave the SGS alone. Once again though, you may have better luck than I do, but my own personal advice, stay away from it. Not worth it. That concludes this 10 list. I don't even know if it's the top. I guess I'll consider it a top 10 list. But guys, I would stay away from these items, especially if you're new to flipping. I know we have a lot of new flipping people in the community, in the Discord, which by the way, if you're not part of the Discord, link for that is in the description of this video. It's an amazing community. If you're not and you're subscribed to this channel, definitely check it out. It is 100% worth it, especially if you're new to flipping. But this is a list that I made. I used some people from our Discord to help me make up this list. So shout out to everybody who helped me make this list. It is, once again, my own personal opinions, my own personal thoughts. You may have a better experience than I have flipping these items. And if you have, then great. That's good for you. I'm really glad for you. But for my own personal experiences, these are the items I have never had luck with, no matter how much I've tried. It's just, to me, they're not worth it. They end up usually ruining my flipping session more than they do helping it. So stay away from them until, I don't even know, say until you're a good flipper. Some of them, like the SGS, maybe so. Once you're a good flipper, you can start flipping it. But some of those other items, just steer clear of them, man. You'll have better luck flipping other items in the similar price range. So that's all I had for this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is Queen Saraha signing out. I will see you guys in the next video.